on IELTS reading. We have been following all our classes on IELTS reading. You are going to recall that one of the important steps for success in IELTS reading is what I call step 2. Okay? I taught during one of our classes that there are 5 steps to success in IELTS reading. Step 1 involves learning about the different question types, learning about the different strategies, being able to identify the strategies to use, being able to use those strategies, those techniques, and then being able to identify the different question types. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2 now involves mastering the question types. Okay, in step 2, you take the question types one by one and you master them. So when I say that you master a question type, what I basically mean is that what you learn how to solve that particular type of question and you practice solving lots of that particular question type. So for example, we have gap filling questions, okay? You learn how to solve gap filling questions and you practice with lots of gap filling questions. You learn how to solve true false not given questions and then you practice with lots of true false not given questions. You learn how to solve matching heading questions and then you practice with what? You practice with lots of matching heading questions. I mean, you do that until you cover all the different question types. Doing that is what I call step 2 drills. That is what I mean by what? Step 2 drill. So I'm going to do one step 2 drill with you today, okay? Today I'm going to be focusing on what I call matching heading questions. And I'm going to be using a CBT website for that. I'm going to be using Mini IELTS website, miniielts.com, to do the practice. So we're going to be looking at how to do step 2 drills for matching heading questions. That is the focus of my lesson over the next 30 minutes. So how to do step 2 drills for matching heading questions. Let's give it this title, okay? So how do we solve matching heading question? This is how we solve matching heading question. Step 1. Steps for solving matching heading questions. So these are the steps. Let me give you the steps. Number 1 is to what? Read the statements and identify keywords. Okay, step 2, read the passage, or let's put it this way, read paragraph 1. Okay, understand the main points. Sometimes you will have just 1 point. Sometimes you will have 2 points. Sometimes you will have 3 points. Usually you won't exceed 3. Okay, so understand the main point of that paragraph 1, or you can sometimes call it section 1. Sometimes they label them as section. Section, usually section A. They label them A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, understand the main points of section A. Okay, and think of a title for it. Then the third step is now what? Go to the statements or headings. We can also call those statements, we can also call them headings. Headings. Go to the headings. Go to the headings and look for the heading that best matches with the title that you came up with in step 2. Okay, this step 2 where I said read paragraph A or section A, I understand the main point and think of a title for it. That's what I'm referring to. Okay, then step 4 is that what? Any heading that you pick for a paragraph or section must be fully supported by that paragraph/section. Okay, now take note of this. Do not pick a heading just because one keyword in that heading is mentioned in a paragraph, ensure that all the keywords in that heading are what? Supported. Okay? This is extremely important. This final point that I wrote here. Do not pick a heading just because one keyword in that heading is mentioned in the paragraph. No. You must ensure that what? All the keywords, all the keywords in that heading are what? They must be fully supported. Okay? So you're going to see me, I'm going to apply this particular step. I mean, these 4 steps. This particular this set of steps. Okay, these steps. I'm going to apply them. I'll use them to solve a set of questions. And so these steps are steps that you practice using. Okay, until you master what we call matching heading questions. Okay. I hope you guys are still with me. Let me see your message if you are still with me. Who is still with me? Let me see your message. Let me be sure that you guys are still following me. If you are with me, let me see your message. Drop a message in the Zoom chat. Let me be sure that you guys are following me. Let me see your message in the Zoom chat. Let me know that you are still with me. So let me share my screen we're going to go to the website now, miniielts.com. All right. Thank you very much for that feedback. I can see your response. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So go to our website. I'm going to show you how to. Um, so if somebody says, I am struggling with matching heading questions, this is the drill that you do. Okay? This drill I'm doing now is what you do. If somebody says, I am struggling with multiple choice questions, in that case, you are going to have to do multiple choice questions. If somebody says, I'm struggling with yes, no, not giving questions, you have to do more yes, no, not giving questions. But today, what I want to do is what I want to do a drill for matching heading questions. So this is our mini IELTS website. Okay. Well, it's not my website anyway. I'm not the owner of the website. Okay, so I'm just using our because that's what we used to practice. Now, reading. We're going to click on reading, and then it's going to take us to the reading questions, the reading passages, the reading tests. Okay, so you can see this is what it should look like. This is what it should look like on your computer. Okay, if you are using a computer. Now, if you look at the left side, you will see that you have some different question types written there. Okay, you have matching heading. So what you are going to do when you get to this site is that what you are going to click on that matching heading. That's what you want. You want to practice with what? You want to practice with matching heading questions. That's what you want to do because that's the drill you are trying to work on. Okay, drills that involve you are looking for passages that contain matching heading questions only. So once you click on that matching heading questions, you now come to the bottom here and you are going to select search. You're going to select search. So all the links that is going to bring out for you, they are going to be what? They are going to be matching heading questions. Okay? If you look at this one now. The importance of look, can you see they wrote matching headings here? That means if I click on this thing, it's going to take me to matching heading question. Let me show you. Look at it. I click on it now. Look at it here. Can you see? List of headings. That tells me that what? That tells me that I'm dealing with what? I am dealing with matching heading questions. List of headings. Okay? Let's pick another link. Look at this one. This one says matching headings. Can you see that? William Gilbert and magnetism. Let's click on it. Let's click on it. Okay, can you see William Gilbert and magnetism? Can you see again list of headings? Okay, so all the stuffs on this page, everything, they are all what? They are all matching heading questions. E-training, the story of philosophy. Sorry, the story of coffee, education philosophy, everything. You can see that you have 18 links, page 1 of 18. So 18 pages. Let me click on number 10. Let me click on number 10. Okay. Pompidou Center. Can you see? Matching headings. Let me click on Pompidou Center. It's going to take me to matching headings. Look at it here. So this is multiple choice. Okay, matching sentence endings. Oh, this is not matching heading. So I'm going to ignore this one. I guess this is a website error. Human errors happen on this website a lot. So let's check Pompidou Center. Live casting and arts. Let me see whether matching heading questions are here. Matching heading questions. Live casting and arts. Okay, this is matching information. Yes, no, not given. There are no matching heading questions here. Okay, so I'm guessing that some of these pages do not contain matching heading questions. Development of museum. Let me check this one. Environmental management. This one should contain matching heading. Okay, yeah, can you see? List of headings. That's matching heading questions. Matching heading. So your focus is just what? Your focus is matching heading. Those are the only questions you're going to be solving. Okay, to improve your what? To improve your skill in handling what? This particular question type. Okay. So I'm going to pick, let me just pick one. Let me pick this. Okay, let me not do this one. This question looks familiar. Let me try, um, let me see whether matching heading is here. Um, okay, volcano earth-shattering news. So this is a passage here. You have matching heading questions, your list of headings. Okay, so what is my first step? Remember what I said when I started. Our first step is to read the list of headings and identify keywords. So look at our list of headings here. The instruction says choose the correct heading for each section from the list of headings. So we have some sections here, section A, B, C, D. Okay, section A, B, C, D. Now we have how many headings here? We have 6 headings. Causes of volcanic eruption. Efforts to predict volcanic eruption. Volcanoes and the features of our planet. The different types of, so these are the headings. Now let me show you the keywords. Very, very important here. What are keywords? Keywords are verbs, adverbs, adjectives, proper nouns, dates, figures, and amounts of money. So look at this statement 1. Causes. This is a noun. Anytime you see a noun in your matching heading questions, and you see that that noun is in plural, you need to pay attention to that plural word. Causes is a keyword for me here. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this as a word, as a keyword. Number 2 says efforts to predict. Predict what? Volcanic eruption. So this one is about what? Efforts, and then it's about predicting. Efforts to what? Efforts to predict. Okay, I hope you guys are following me. Efforts to what? Efforts. What is the meaning of predict? Predict means that you want to try and tell what will happen in the future. That future could be tomorrow. That future could be next week. Efforts to predict. Number 3 says volcanoes and the features of our planet. Volcanoes, that's one keyword. Features, that's another keyword. Features means characteristics, qualities, properties. That's the meaning of another word. Those are synonyms of features. Okay. Then number 5 says what? Number 5 says different types of volcanic eruption. Different types. Those are my keywords. Different types. Number 6 says international relief efforts. What is the meaning of international? International means that what? Different bodies, international bodies like WHO, okay? Bodies that operate in different countries, that influence activities in different countries, like WHO, like United Nations, like UNESCO, World Bank, FAO. FAO stands for Food and Agricultural Organization. Those are international bodies. So when you say international relief efforts, what are you saying? They are talking about what? International bodies giving relief. Maybe a particular place was affected by a volcano, and then those bodies came to bring some things to the affected areas. Number 6, the unpredictability of volcanic eruption. This is one very important keyword, the unpredictability. In other words, that thing is unpredictable. You can't say what will happen or when it will happen. Unpredictability. So I have registered my keywords. Next thing I'll do now is to go to the passage, take it paragraph or section by section. So we start with section A. Look at section A here. Volcanoes are the ultimate earth-moving machinery. A violent eruption can blow from the top. Sorry, a violent eruption can blow the top few kilometers off a mountain, scatter fine ash practically all over the globe, and hurl rock fragments into the stratosphere to darken the skies a continent away. So this thing here, they are telling us one particular feature, some of the features of volcano here. This whole thing I've highlighted here. Okay, take note of that. Remember, there's one place that talks about features of. Okay, no, it says features of our planet, volcanoes and the features of our planet. Okay, let's go on. But the classic eruption, cone-shaped mountain, big bang, mushroom cloud, and surges of molten lava is only a tiny part of a global story. What's the meaning of global? Something that happens all over the world. Volcanism, the name given to the volcanic processes, really has shaped the world. Eruptions have rifted continents, raised mountain chains, constructed highlands, and shaped the topography of the earth. Can you see? Topography of the earth. That's pointing at what? Features of our planet. Features is about topography. One of the features of the earth is topography of the earth. Features of our planet. That's sounding like this number paragraph is most likely going to be number 3. Look at the next sentence. The entire ocean floor has a basement of volcanic basalt. Can you see they're talking about our planet? Let's go on. Volcanoes have not only made the continent, they are also thought to have made the world's first stable atmosphere and provided all the water for the oceans, rivers, and ice caps. Can you see they are talking about our planet? Oceans, rivers, and ice caps. There are now about 600 active volcanoes. Every year, they add 2 or 3 cubic kilometers of rock to the continent. Imagine a similar number of volcanoes smoking away for the last 3,500 million years. That is enough rock to expand the continental crust. What comes out of volcanic crystal is mostly gas. More than 90% of this gas is water vapor from the deep earth, enough to explain over 35 million years the water in the oceans. The rest of the gas is nitrogen, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, methane, ammonia, and hydrogen. The quantity of these gases again multiplied over 3,500 million years is enough to explain the mass of the world's atmosphere. Everything here they are talking about how volcanoes has contributed to the structure of our earth. That's what I'm reading here. That's my summary of this whole paragraph. How volcanoes have what? Contributed to the structure of the atmosphere of the earth, the ground, the ocean, even the atmosphere. That's what I'm saying in this section A. Okay? They did not talk about causes in that section I just read now. So number 1 cannot fit in. Efforts to predict. I didn't say anything about predicting. So I can't pick number 2. Number 3 is my most likely answer. Number 4, different types. They did talk about different types. International relief, there's nothing about relief yet. Unpredictability, that one did not show up either. There's nothing about whether the thing is predictable or unpredictable. Okay? This number 3 is the best answer. Okay? How many of you agree with me? Let me know if you agree with me. If you agree with me that number 3 is the correct answer, let me see your response. Say, yes, I agree. Let me know if you agree with me. I believe number 3 should be the answer. Volcanoes and the features of our planet. So let me move on to paragraph B now, or section B. Let's move on to section B. What do we have in section B? Geologists consider the Earth as having a molten core surrounded by semi-molten mantle and a brittle outer skin. It helps to think of a soft-boiled egg with a runny yolk, a firm but squishy white and hard shell. If the shell is even slightly cracked during boiling, the white material bubbles out and sets like a tiny mountain chain over the crack. So you see they are comparing this thing to egg. Okay, how volcanoes happen, like an archipelago of volcanic islands such as the Hawaiian island, but the earth is so much bigger and the mantle below is so much hotter. Even though the mantle rocks are kept solid by overlying pressure, they can still slowly flow like thick trickle. The flow thought to be in form of convection current is powerful enough to fracture the eggshell and the crust. They are describing how volcanoes happen here. That's what I'm saying here. First of all, they talked about something in the inside, the core, the molten core that is very, very hot. Look at it, they said it's hotter. The mantle, that mantle, look at it here, they called it mantle, a semi-molten mantle. Okay, they said that that mantle is hotter. That's the inside of the earth. Even though the mantle rocks are kept solid by overlying pressure, they can still slowly flow like thick trickle. The flow thought to be in the form of convection current is powerful enough to fracture the eggshell, that's the surrounding of the mantle, okay, and keep them bumping and grinding against each other and even overlapping at the rate of a few centimeters a year. These fracture zones where collision occur are where earthquakes happen and very often volcanoes. Can you see how they ended? Where the volcanoes happen. And the bulk of it is about what? How these volcanoes happen. Okay? So um, for me, this thing here, this section B, I think it looks a little bit like causes of volcanic eruption. It's not about efforts to predict. They are not talking about predicting here. Okay. Number three, I've used number three. I don't think number three fits in this paragraph, in this section two. Different types. I didn't say anything about different types yet. Relief efforts, no. Unpredictability of volcanic. This unpredictability seems to sound like, let me see, is there anything about unpredictability here? There's nothing like, I'm scanning through the thing again. I can't say anything like unpredictability. So I'm just going to go for number one, causes. I'll go for number one, causes of volcanic eruptions. That looks like the most appropriate to me. All the other options look very, very weak. Now, section C. These zones are lines of weakness or hotspots. Every eruption is different, but put at its simplest, where there are weaknesses, rocks deep in the mantle heated to 1350 degrees Celsius will start to expand and rise, and as they do so, the pressure drops and they expand and become liquid and rise more swiftly. Sometimes it is slow, vast bubbles of magma, molten rock from the mantle inch towards the surface, cooling slowly to snow through the granite extrusion, as on Skye or the Great Wind Seal, the lava dike squeezed out like toothpaste that carries part of Adrian Wall in northern England. Sometimes, as in Northern Ireland, Wales, and Karoo in South Africa, the magma rose faster and then flowed out horizontally. This place is even, they are even describing how the volcano happens. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. In the Deccan Plateau of Western India, there are more than 2 million cubic kilometers of lava, some of it 2,400 meters thick, formed over 500,000 years of sloping eruption. Sometimes the magma moves swiftly indeed. It does not have time to cool as it surges upwards. The gases trapped inside the boiling rock expand suddenly. The lava glows with heat. It begins to froth and it explodes with tremendous force. You see, they are describing how that volcano happens. That's what I'm saying here. Then the slightly cooler lava following it begins to flow over the lip of the crater. It happens on Mars. It happens on the moon. It even happens on some of the moons of Jupiter and Uranus. By studying the evidence, volcanologists can read the force of the great blast of the past. Is the pumice light or full of holes? The explosion was tremendous. Had the rocks heavy with huge crystalline basalt shapes like the Giant Causeway in Northern Ireland. It was a slow, gentle eruption. The biggest eruption are deep on the mid-ocean floor, where new lava is forcing the continent apart and widening the Atlantic by perhaps 5 centimeters a year. Look at the maps of volcanoes, earthquakes, and island chains like the Philippines and Japan, and you can see the rough outlines of what are called tectonic plates, the plates which make up the Earth's crust and mantle. The most dramatic of this is the Pacific Ring of Fire, where there have been the most violent explosions. Mount Pinatubo near Manila, Mount St. Helens in the Rockies, and El Chicon in Mexico about a decade ago. Not to mention the world's blasts, world-shaking blasts like Krakatoa in the Sunda Straits in 1833. This whole thing, they are basically talking about how this volcano happens. It's sounding more, but is it number one? I've already used one section for number one. Let me see. Efforts to predict. I didn't see the word predict in this entire section. See, so I'm not going to go for efforts to predict. Number three, I've used number three already. Volcanoes and the features of our planet. I don't think number three matches to section C. Different types of volcanic eruption. Well, did they talk about different types here? They talked about it happens on Mars. It happens in the moon. It happens in the moon of Uranus. Here they talked about slow, gentle eruption. And then here they talked about the biggest eruptions. I think I'll go for number 4 for this section C. I'll go for number 4. And then paragraph D now. But volcanoes are not very predictable. Aha, that's number 2. Efforts to predict. Let's be sure. That is because geological time scale is not like human time. During quiet periods, volcanoes cap themselves with their own lava by forming a powerful cone from the molten rock sloping over the rim of the crater. Later, the lava cools slowly into a huge, hard, stable plug, which blocks any further eruption until pressure below becomes irresistible. In the case of Mount Pinatubo, this took 600 years. Then sometimes, with only a small warning, the mountain blows its top. It did this on Mount Pili in Martinique at 7:49 a.m. on 8 May 1902. A town of 28,000 people, only 2 people survived. In 1815, a sudden blast removed the top 1280 meters from Mount Tambora in Indonesia. The eruption was so fierce that dust thrown into the stratosphere darkened the skies, cancelling the following summer in Europe and North America. Thousands starved as harvest failed after snow in June and frost in August. Volcanoes are potentially world news, especially the quiet ones. So here, I think this one is about predicting. And then they give examples of some volcanoes that happen without notice. So I'm going to go for paragraph D. My answer, I'm going to go for where is that one about? Number 2, efforts to predict. Number 2. So I've solved the matching heading questions. So what I'll do now is to what? Is to submit. And I always like to say that word. After submitting, if there's anyone you get wrong, take time to do self-correction. And I'm going to do that if I get anyone wrong here. So my focus is just the matching heading questions. I'm not solving the remaining questions. We have gap filling questions here. We have gap filling. So I'm not worrying myself about them. I'm showing you how to do what? What's it called? Step 2 drills. Okay? So let's see what my score will be for the matching heading questions. Let me see whether I will get everything right. Okay. So the computer is telling me that I got 2 correct and I got 2 wrong. Those last 2. Number 2 is telling me that number 3 is supposed to be statement number 4. It's telling me that number 3 is supposed to be statement number 4. And I picked 6 instead. So we are going to do, let me show you self-correction. I like to show people self-correction. Always do self-correction. That's why I like sometimes doing new questions so that I can use that as an opportunity to show people, to show you how to do self-correction. It's extremely important. It helps you to master, it helps you to learn from your mistake. Let me put it that way. So let's look at section, what's it called? This is going to be section C. Section C and section D. Let's see why section C should be statement number 4. Okay, I picked statement 6. Can you see I picked statement 6? And the passage is telling me that it should be statement number 4. The answer at the back of the book, unpredictability. Okay, unpredictability. I picked unpredictability instead of picking what's it called? Different types. Different types of what? Different types of volcanic eruption. Is that not what I picked? That was a mistake. I think that was what I said for section C. Different types. That was a mistake. If you recall, you remember that I mentioned when I was solving this section C, I talked about slow, gentle eruption and then biggest eruption. This issue of different types is different types I said. I don't know how I mistakenly picked number 6. So you see, those kinds of mistakes, those are things you need to beware of. I think I said I said my answer is going to be number 5. I don't know how I mistakenly picked 6. Okay, for this section D, so it's telling me that instead of number 2, my answer should be number 6, unpredictability. How come? Okay, hold on. Oh, effort to predict. Oh, now I see my mistake. Can you see? Number 2 says effort to predict. In other words, some people are trying to predict this thing. That's what number 2 is saying. Meanwhile, number 6 is actually the correct answer. Unpredictability. Why? Because I'm wondering how I ended up with number 2 again now. Look at this first sentence here. Not predictable. Not predictable. So that's pointing directly at this number 6. I'm wondering how I picked this number 2. This one too must have been a mistake. So this one too should be what? Should be number 6. Should be number 6. And then of course, I think this one is number 1. And then this one is what? Number 3. So can you see? What's it called? Self-correction. This is how you would, learn from your mistakes. Sometimes you are going to see that those mistakes are just okay. Like what happened now with section C now was maybe we should call it oversight or something. You understand? But it helps you to know, okay, what went wrong? What happened? What happened? What happened? So that next time you are practicing, it helps you to be more careful, okay, with your answers. Hope you get my point. So let me do one more and then we're going to move on to something else. Let me do one more. Let me see. Okay, this is also a matching heading question. All right, so let's try this one. Let's try and do this one and then we're going to wrap it up. So let's look at the list of headings again. Okay, we identify keywords in the list of headings. I'm going to be faster here. The probable effect of the new international trade agreement. Effects, international, new. Those are my keywords. The environmental impact of modern farming. Environmental impact, modern farming. Farming and soil erosion. Farming and soil erosion. Everything is important in this statement. The effects of government policy in rich countries. Effects, government policy, rich countries. Government and management of the environment. Okay, government, management of the environment. The effect of government policy in poor countries. Poor countries is a keyword here. Farming and food output. Hold on. Farming and soil erosion. Farming and food output. Okay. The effect of government policy on food outputs. Okay. Can you see that effect is showing up a lot? Effect the government policy. Effect the government policy. Effect the government policy. The new prospects for world trade. So those are my keywords. So let's look at the passage section by section. The role of government in environmental management is difficult but inescapable. Sometimes the state tries to manage the resources it owns and does so badly. Often, however, government acts in an even more harmful. So let me take that sentence again. Often, however, governments act in an even more harmful way. They actually subsidize the exploitation and consumption of natural resources. A whole range of policies from farm price support to protection for coal mining do environmental damage and often, sorry, let me take that again. A whole range of policies do environmental damage and often make no economic sense. Look at this thing. This thing that they wrote here that I'm putting in color here is basically telling us that what a lot of government policies damage the environment. That's what they are saying here. For example, farm price support damages the environment. Protection for coal mining damages the environment. That's what they are saying here. Okay? Scrapping them offers a twofold bonus. A cleaner, can you see? If you scrap these policies, you're going to have a what? A cleaner environment and a more efficient what? A more efficient economy. Growth and environmentalism can actually go hand in hand if politicians have the courage to confront the vested interest that subsidies create. So this paragraph is about what? Government policies damaging the environment. That's what I'm saying in this paragraph. Government policies damaging the what? The environment. So where is that here? That's sounding like number 5. Number 5. Let me see. Is there any other thing that sounding like number 5? Government and the management of the environment. So I'm going to just pick number 5 for section A. Let me pick number 5 for section A. Roman figure 5. So let's move on. Section B now. No activity affects more of the Earth's surface than farming. Can you see they move to farming now? It shapes a third of the planet's land area, not counting Antarctica, and the proportion is rising. World food output per head has risen by 4% between 1970s and 1980s, mainly as a result of increases in yields from land already in cultivation, but also because more land has been brought under the plow. Higher yields have been achieved by increased irrigation, better crop breeding, and doubling in the use of pesticides and chemical fertilizer. So here they're talking about farming. That's sounding like, which one has to do with farming? Number 2, environmental impact of modern farming. They didn't talk about environmental impact here. They didn't really discuss the impact. This paragraph talks more about the word. Look at food here. That's what you get from farming. Food. Higher yields. That's it talking about food. Higher yield. So environmental impact will not fit in. Soil erosion did not show up there. Food output. Number 7. I'm going to go for number 7 for section B. Statement number 7. Okay? Excuse me, please. Are you guys with me? Let me know if you are with me. Let me see who is following me. If you are following me, let me see your message in the Zoom chats. Drop a message in the Zoom chat. Let me know if you are with me. Let me know if you are with me. Let me know who is hearing me. If you are hearing me, let me see your message. If you can hear me, let me see your message. Let me get some feedback. All right. Thank you very much for that. I can see that. I can see that response. Thank you very much. Okay, very good. So, very good, very good, very good. Okay. So, what we are basically doing is that what? We are giving titles to the word, to the different sections. I read section A and I give a title to it. I read section B and I give a title to it. Okay? I see somebody saying that, somebody is saying here that I am with you, but I don't understand. That is a vague response. You need to be specific about what you don't understand. Which part do you not understand? I need you to be clear about what you don't understand so that I will know what to say. What exactly is it that you don't understand? What is it that you don't know what we are doing? Is it that you don't know what we are doing or what? I don't know what you mean by I don't understand. So please don't just write that I don't understand. Is not clear. Be clear about what is not clear. Okay? Let me know. Just type in the Zoom chat and say, okay, oh, this is what I don't understand. Let me know what you don't understand so that I will know what to say. Okay? So let's look at section C now. So like I said, we read the passage, we read the paragraph section, and then we'll come to this list of headings and we pick an appropriate heading. Okay? We pick an appropriate heading for it. I read through section A. I read through this section A. I understood the information, and then I came here to pick an appropriate title for it. I did the same thing for section B. I read through it and I picked an appropriate title for it. Now I want to read section C. I want you to follow closely and see as I do it. Okay? You need to read the section, understand the information that is there, okay? And then come to the list of heading from, look at the list of heading here. Look at what they wrote here, list of headings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to number 9. Okay? Pick the appropriate heading for it. That's what we are doing. So look at what I want to do now. So section C now. All these activities may have damaging environmental impact. What are they referring to as these activities? They talked about it in paragraph B. They are talking about farming activities, anything that has to do with farming activities. Okay? Somebody is asking a question. Are we going to read all the line by line? Yes, you will read. Somebody says, are we going to read all line by line on exam day on matching heading? Yes, 100% you will read. Once you see matching heading like this, just know that you are reading the passage from the beginning to the end. That's the meaning. So you need to learn to read fast. Somebody says, but you are reading slow. Yes, I'm reading slow because I'm teaching. That's why I'm reading slow. Okay? If I'm doing this thing without, if you guys are not on this call, I'll be faster. But because I'm taking my time, I want to explain things. That's why I'm taking it slowly. So for matching heading, you will read everything so that you can know what each paragraph is about. Otherwise, you end up picking the wrong answers. Now, all these activities, what are you talking about here? They're talking about farming. All these activities may have damaging environmental impact. For example, land clearing for agriculture is the largest single cause of deforestation. Okay, can you see? Farming causes deforestation. What is that? Environmental impact of farming. That's what I'm saying here. Let's go on. Chemical fertilizers and pesticides may contaminate water supplies. Can you see again? Chemical fertilizers. Fertilizers is used for farming. Contaminate water supplies. More intensive farming and abandonment of fallow periods. Abandonment of fallow periods tend to exacerbate soil erosion. Can you see soil erosion is showing up here? There's one place, look at this, number 3, soil erosion. But I won't pick this thing yet because I'm not sure that the remainder of this section talks about soil erosion. Let's continue reading. And the spread of monoculture and use of high-yield variety of crops have been accompanied by disappearance of old varieties of food plants which might have provided some insurance against pest or disease in the future. This whole thing is about what? Effect of farming on the environment. That's what I'm saying here so far. Let's go on. Now I'm saying soil erosion again. Pay attention now. Soil erosion threatens the productivity of land in both rich and poor countries. Poor countries. Look at poor countries here, number 6. But they are not talking about effect of government policy. Okay? They are talking about what? The effect of, what's it called? Soil erosion. So you cannot pick number 6 for it because you are seeing poor countries. Can you see traps to avoid? That's what I said earlier when I said that word. The fact that you saw a particular keyword in a particular part of the paragraph does not mean that the heading that has that keyword is going to be the answer. The fact that I'm seeing poor countries here and I'm seeing poor countries here does not mean that the answer to paragraph C is going to be number 6. No. What of government policy? I need to look for that. What of effect? I need to look for that also. Those are also keywords to pay attention to. Those are things that help you to pick the correct answer when it comes to matching heading. Now look at it. The United States, where the most careful measurements have been done, discovered in 1982 that about 1/5 of its farmland is losing topsoil at a rate likely to diminish the soil productivity. This thing here, losing topsoil, that's what? That's another word for erosion, soil erosion. Soil erosion means you are losing topsoil. Can you see soil erosion is showing up again? Right from this point, we are seeing soil erosion. Let's go on. The country subsequently embarked upon a program to convert 11% of its cropped land to a meadow or forest. Topsoil, can you see topsoil again? In India and China is vanishing faster than in America. So all the way to the end, we are seeing what? Soil erosion. From the beginning all the way to this middle, what did we see there? The impact of farming on the environment. Okay, so it's sounding like this section is going to be statement number 2. Have I used number 2 before? I've not used number 2. It's also sounding like this section is what's it called? Number 3. Can you see a very tricky situation here? For me, I think I'll go for number two because number two covers everything. The environmental impact of modern farming. Look at how the table started. All these activities have damaging environmental impacts. So I'll go for number two. I won't go for the erosion one because the erosion is just half of the passage. Erosion is one of the impacts. There are other impacts that they talked about in that paragraph. Okay, so I think the answer should be what? Should be number two. Let's leave it at that until we mark. Section D now. Government policies have frequently compounded the environmental damage. Aha, look at this thing here. Government policies have compounded. What's the meaning of compounded? Compounded means that you made something worse. Compounded the environmental damage that farming can cause. In rich countries, subsidies for growing crops and price supports for farm outputs drive up the price of land. The annual value of these subsidies is immense. Who is giving subsidies? It's the government. Okay, to increase the output of crops per acre, farmers' easiest option is to use more of his most readily available inputs, fertilizers and pesticides. Fertilizers use doubled in Denmark in the period between 1960 and 1985 and increased in Netherlands by 150%. The quantity of pesticide applied also increased. So all these things, they are pointing it toward government policy. Let's go on. In the late 1990s and early 1990s, some efforts were made to reduce farm subsidies. Farm subsidy is still part of government policy. The most dramatic example was that of New Zealand, which scrapped most farm support in 1984. A study of environmental effect conducted in 1993 found that the end of fertilizer subsidies had been followed by a fall in fertilizer use, a fall compounded by the decline in world commodity prices, which cut farm incomes. The removal of subsidies also stopped land clearing and overstocking. So they stopped government policies, ended farm subsidies, and certain things happened. Farms began to diversify. The one kind of subsidies whose removal appeared to have been bad for the environment was the subsidy to manage soil erosion. In less enlightened countries, and in the European Union, the trend had been to reduce rather than eliminate subsidies, to introduce new payments to encourage farmers to treat their land in environmentally friendlier way. So in this section, that has 3 paragraphs. The first part talks about what? Government giving subsidy. And then the fact that what? As a result of subsidy, farmers began to use fertilizers and pesticides. And there was increased farm yield. Okay? But the next part, this second part now says that what? They now stopped the subsidy. And then farms began to diversify. And then this final part now says that what? Some places did not stop the subsidy. Instead, they reduced the subsidy. Can you see what is happening here? Let's look at the list of statements and see what matches with what I just described now for this section, section D, sorry. Look at it. Probable effect of there's nothing like international trade agreement, what I just read now. Okay? The environmental impact of modern farming. What I'm seeing here is more of farm subsidies. I won't go for this one. I've even used this number 2. Number 3, there's nothing like soil erosion in what I just read now. Number 4, effect of government policies in rich countries. All these countries they mentioned here, they are rich countries, ladies and gentlemen. New Zealand is in the category of rich countries. Denmark is in the category of rich countries. Okay? Netherlands is in the category of rich countries. Where else? European Union, rich countries. My only problem is this one that says less enlightened countries. This sounds like maybe not a rich country. So I may pick number, where is it now? Number 4. Number 4, let me keep it somewhere in my left hand. Let me check the others. Government and management of the environment. No. This one. Management, no. Let me leave this one. Effect of government policy in poor countries. No. I have more rich countries in this section than poor countries. Farming and food output. I've used number 7. Number 8, the effect of government policy on food output. Oh, hold on. No. Food output. Have I used number 8? No, I've not used it. Food output. Is there anything like food output here? There's nothing like food output here. I think I'll just go for number 4. Let me see. Did they use number 4? This one says number 6 have been used. Section D, I'm just going to pick number 4 for it. Number 4 seems to be like the most appropriate answer. Effect of government policies in rich. Is that going to be number 4 or number 2? I think I'll go for number 4. Paragraph E now, let me see. They've done E for us and they've used statement 6, so I don't need to waste my time. Let me just jump to paragraph F. A result of the Uruguay round of world trade negotiations is likely to be a reduction of 36% in the average levels of farm subsidies paid by the rich countries in 1986 to 1990. Some of the world's food production will move from Western Europe to regions where subsidies are lower or non-existent, such as the former communist countries and parts of the developing world. Some environmentalists worry about this outcome. It will undoubtedly mean more pressure to convert natural habitat into farmland, but it will also have many desirable environmental effects. The intensity of farming in the rich world should decline, and the use of chemical inputs will diminish. Crops are more likely to be grown in the environment to which they are naturally suited, and more farmers in poor countries will have the money and incentive to manage their land in ways that are sustainable in the long run. That is important to feed an increasingly hungry world. Farmers need incentives to use their soil and water effectively and efficiently. This thing says Uruguay round of world trade negotiations. I need to go back. What does that mean? This paragraph here, every year, 10,000 people die from pesticide poisoning. Okay, there's nothing about Uruguay in paragraph F. So this one is about reduction in farm subsidies and then world food production moving to other countries away from Western Europe. What does that sound like? That's sounding like that one of this one here, the probable effect of new international trade agreement. Look at it, trade negotiation, trade agreement. So this whole paragraph is about the result of this trade. So it's sounding like number 1. Number 1 is most like, I've not used number 1. Section F, let me just pick 1 for it. Let me see. What other statement? Number 2, I've used it. Number 3, there's nothing like soil erosion here. Number 4, have I used number 4? Yes, I've used number 4. Effect of government policy in rich countries. It can be number 4. Number 5, no, management of the environment. Number 6, they've used number 6. They've used number 6 already. Number 7, food outputs. No, it can't be number 7. Farming and food output. It can't be number 7. Can't be number 7. I think number 1 is the best. Hold on. The new prospects for world trade. What does that mean? Hi, world trade. The new prospects for world. This one says world trade. Now this is very tricky. This one says international trade agreements. Huh? This last section is going to be between number 1 and number 9. Number 9, new prospects for world trade. I think I will stick to my number 1. Let me just leave it as number 1. Let me submit and see what my score will be, and then we'll do self-correction. All right? So submit. I see what our score is going to be. Okay. I got 5 correct. All my questions, all my answers are correct. Can you see? I only solved matching heading questions, remember. So ignore all those ones that are wrong. All my answers are correct, even including that last one that so you see that last one, that last option, let me show you again. This last option here, section F, these statements, new prospects for world trade. Can you see this thing here, world trade? Can you see world trade is also here? You see, it's a trap, very big trap. As I said, the fact that you are seeing a word or a phrase in the heading does not mean that that is the answer. This issue of new prospects is not well defined, okay? But for number 1, it is better defined. Probable effects of what? International trade. Even though they did not use the word world, they did not use WRLD. It's still the same thing as what? International. Okay? So these are things you look out for. You need to look out for all these kinds of traps when dealing with what? Matching heading questions. I hope you guys get my point. So your matching heading questions, how do you do it? You go through the list of headings, identify keywords, take them, what's it called? Register the keywords in your mind, and then come to the passage and read it paragraph by paragraph. After reading a paragraph, try and understand the information in that paragraph, and then summarize that information into one sentence. Try and say, okay, what does this mean? In one sentence, what does this paragraph say? Sometimes you may need to come up with 2 sentences. Sometimes it could be 3 sentences. You understand? But usually it doesn't exceed 3 sentences. You understand? And then you now come to your list of heading and look for the heading that best matches with that word, with that title that you came up with, or with that summary that you came up with. You understand? So when you do this, when you practice this thing I just did now, you need to practice it and get used to it. I mean, it takes a lot of practice to get used to it. Hope you get my point. So I'm going to wrap it up on that note. I'm just going to take that for now. I'm going to drop a link to some matching heading questions for you to do. Okay, I'll drop it in the group for you to do. That'll be your assignments for today's class. Okay, so thank you very much. All right, let me take maybe 1 or 2 questions. Does anybody have any question before we end the class? Does anybody have any question before we round up? Any question? Any question? Any question?